Today I'd like to talk to you about some tools for home defense, home protection. You could put it under either one of those categories, defense and protection. So let's say that you had the proper lighting and you had good door locks, and like we've got 5 German Shepherds, and you've got your outer layer and your second layer and all that, but somehow something has gone wrong. And maybe the gate got left open, all the dogs went on vacation, and electricity failed, your lights failed, your cameras all turned off, and you didn't know it, and you heard a bump in the night. So here are some tools that we use here on our farm. These are very well established, and I want to start off with the least, and we'll ratchet up to the most lethal. So I want to just do a quick introduction on these, then we'll go back through them one by one and talk about how to use these properly for your home defense. As you can see here, the first one, this is the least lethal of all. This is what I like to have. You can put one of these, it's cheap enough, you could put one in every room. You could have one in your bedroom, beside your bed, like you would have a fire extinguisher. You could have one in the hallway, you could have one at the entry point, you could have one in your child's room with proper training. This is a very good tool for children to use so that they don't get in problems with guns. If they're not qualified to use a gun yet, that's a good tool. We'll get back into that for some of the specifics. The second tool, which I'm going to call this a wild card, is a .22 long rifle revolver. And some will say, well, that's not very potent. That's not gonna be do a whole lot to a bad guy. Well, we'll get back into that. And as I said, these are going up in value for lethality. Non-lethal at all. Very little lethality in the body. In the head, it's a whole different matter. And like I say, this is a wild card. We'll get back to him. This is my wife's new little target pistol. The next on the list is the 1911 pistol. This is my target pistol, .45 caliber. Very important that you use a nice critical defense type of ammo with this so you don't shoot through the bad guy and hurt somebody else in your home. That is definitely lethal if you're hitting in the right spot. Shot placement is very important with any kind of a pistol. Pistols just do not have that much power. Only in Hollywood do they blow you across the room. The next step up is the shotgun, and that is a very good home defense weapon. Not everybody can handle the shotgun. It is definitely not for a small framed man, a young teenager that's small framed, or for a lady that cannot handle any recoil. That's not the tool for her. But this one has a very high rate of lethality, and we'll get back to the details on this in just a few minutes. That's the Remington 870 pump shotgun. And last on the list, the most lethal of all, I believe it is, I think we can prove that, is the AR-15 platform. And this I'm going to call from here on out the M4. This is built by DPMS. It is a M4 platform, which means 16-inch barrel, a retractable 6-position stock, and that pretty much sets you up to be an M4 design. This will take a 30-round mag, and I have got it set up with a red dot, which is by far the most popular, used by some of your top-notch special forces guys. We'll talk about that too. So let's review real quick again. We start off with the not lethal pepper spray. This is a cayenne-based pepper spray. We go to the next one, which is not going to knock anybody off their feet, but can be lethal in the right application. If it is a face shot, head shot, very lethal. The next is the .45 caliber pistol. This is my favorite, one of my favorite target pistols here on the farm. The next lethal up is the 12-gauge shotgun with double-aught bucks. This is a Remington 870 pump shotgun, so you don't have to worry about a gas system. As long as your arm will move, it will load and unload itself. And last but not least is the M4 AR-15. Caliber is .556. If you buy an M4, make sure you always buy a .556 because it will shoot .556 and .223. Don't make the mistake of buying one of these in .223 because you're limited then to .223 ammo only. So that is the introduction, and we'll come back and look at these one at a time and talk about pros, cons, and how to use them to defend your family for those that you love. So we'll be right back. Okay, here we are at level 1 for home defense is the pepper gel spray. Now this pepper gel spray is very good to keep a bad guy off of you. Unfortunately, it is not a lethal type of an application, but some things call for this. Maybe a child that's not qualified to operate a gun, a handgun, or an M4 or a shotgun. This could be a good thing for them. I like to call this the spray and run technique. You use the same exact rules on this that you would for a fire extinguisher, and the word to remember is the word pass. You've got pull, it's the same kind of a pin that a fire extinguisher has. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. And in this case, you're painting their face, as much of their face painted as you possibly can get painted. And then run. That's going to give you a few seconds to get the heck out of there. I would never use that particular defense system to spray and run and jump in a corner closet, because that will get you killed. So don't do that. Whether it's a child, a woman, a man, some people are fearful of guns. Or they live in an area where they cannot use a gun. This is a way for you to just at least paint the guy's face, the bad guy, bad girl, paint their face really good, get their eyes, get their nose, get them breathing some. Use it as an eye salve, and I mean spray paint them and keep spray painting their face. And then as soon as you get a chance to dodge them, run between the legs, bump them with whatever you got laying around, pry bar between them and the wall, and get the heck out of there. So that will give you several seconds where they're having a hard time breathing. They can't see very good. Hard to fight if you can't see. But you can imagine a really bad guy. Maybe he's got a knife in his hand or a club. Maybe he does have a gun. If you spray somebody in the face with this, it's going to be like an angry bear, and then you got to get the heck out of there fast. This will also leave the bright red spray. So as soon as you run somewhere, I don't care if it's out in the field behind the house or to a neighbor's house, next step needs to be a 911 call. You need to explain to police. Make sure you tell the police, hey, this bad guy broke into my house. I sprayed him with my red pepper spray gel, and I know I got him because his face is bright red and he's screaming. Tell him what color shirt he's got on. Describe him best you can, maybe a vehicle. And try to stay calm, give them as much information, but make sure you let them know bright red face, probably out at my water faucet trying to wash his face off. Maybe in the kitchen, maybe in the shower, but I guarantee you if somebody gets sprayed with that in their eyes, they're going to be looking for a place to wash that stuff out of their eyes. I've watched military people and police officers that had to get sprayed with this as part of their training, and they'll tell you it's just like grinding up a bunch of glass and then getting it hot and then throwing it in your eyes. It is some bad news stuff. Not lethal, but it could mean the difference in life or death in your home. These canisters like this, I think, are about $25 or $30. They're not real expensive. Saber's the brand name. I don't represent them. They don't help me with any fees here, but that's a good company to go with. I would not bother with the little bitty toy one that you see that goes on a keychain if you're doing home defense. If you're doing home defense, you need a big can like you'd have a miniature fire extinguisher and get the job done with that. The bigger the better for home defense. So that's the main thing to remember about that. Not lethal, good for kids, good for areas where you can't have a gun. And make sure that you do not ever store this or put this in a vehicle, because somebody pops one of those in a vehicle, the driver is going to lose their ability to see, and they're going to run into another car or a tree head on. So don't ever put one of those in a vehicle. Too big for vehicles. So thanks for listening. We'll go on up to our next level of defense, which is going to be level 2. Okay, here we are at level 2. I'm going to call this somewhat of a wild card. There's many people that would never consider this to be a home defense gun, but for somebody that is just fearful of recoil, they're fearful of complicated guns, Maybe they're not ready for a semi-automatic. Maybe they're not a gun person at all. This is a very good way to introduce them and have some fun. Go out in the yard, go out on a shooting range somewhere where it's safe and do a lot of shooting. You can shoot these pretty cheap. This is built by Ruger. We will check it empty. On these, you can open up the load gate and these will spin either direction. It's a very simple gun, and it's really easy to work with. It's just simple to load. All you do is just open it up like that and drop your shells in. In the case of this gun, you definitely want to shoot a defense type of ammo. I hadn't even cut this box open, but we'll do that real quick and have a look at some of these shells. These are made by CCI, and this is called defense ammo. It's called Uppercut. Now, this is not as fast as maybe a Stinger, but the Stinger ratings that I have read so far are all coming out of a rifle. So this is rated at real close to 1,000. Let's see what the rating is on the box. 950 feet per second, and it is designed for a short barrel semi-automatic gun, which means it's going to be very reliable. It's going to have fast burning powder. It is a hollow point. It's a very radical hollow point. It's even got some cuts in it, some little ridges. You don't have to worry about this making the gun not function. That's the problem with a small semi-automatic 22, is if it jams, you're in trouble. You could easily have a single shot. So this is a very reliable gun. I call it the wild card. Now, here's the deal with this. You can put 6 shells in this. You close the load gate, but you have to pull that hammer back every time. And most people, especially older people, understand. They've watched enough westerns, they know you pull the hammer back, then you pull the trigger. You can pull the hammer back, then you pull the trigger. You're going to be able to do that 6 times, 6 shots. So this is a kind of a last-ditch effort to save your life. You may have to run somewhere and hide in a closet standing up and have this at the ready with it cocked and pointing at the door. Maybe you have a light on your head. I use a light on top of my head so I don't have to mess with my hands. Or maybe a light in the closet, but if the bad guy opens the door, you would want that pointed right at the face. If this hits in the nose or in the eye or in the mouth, 122 bullet is highly lethal on a headshot. Say, what if I'm not good enough to hit a head? The head's moving around. You aim at the middle and try to hit the spine. If you hit the spine, it is not going to be lethal, but everything from that point down on the spine is going to be electrically shorted out. You'd be surprised, but if a man got hit dead center in the chest, dead center in the spine, there's a good possibility that he will drop to the floor. So I know it's just a 22, as they say, but in the hands of somebody that's practiced and knows what they're doing, and they're calm enough to work that hammer, work that trigger, it's a very simple gun. It's not going to get you jammed up, but it is lethal. It is lethal if you hit in the right spot. This one is built by Ruger. It is aluminum lower frame, which means it's very lightweight. I bought these pretty little grips on here to make my wife like it a little bit more. These ran me $33, I believe, off of Amazon. Beautiful little grips, one single screw to put them on. They fit good. Aluminum frame. It is zinc on the lower and a good cold hammer forged barrel. And then it's just got a Cerakote finish to make it look like stainless steel. But this one will set you back $250, and I'm real happy with that. That's my wife can shoot all kinds of guns, but at the end of the day, if she's fearful of one of her other ones and she feels like it might be too complicated, you know, you wake up in the middle of the night, you'll be surprised how handy that is. It's just small, it's lightweight, you can grab it quick. And what I always say about a pistol is this: you're using a pistol to work your way to a gun. That's one of the main purposes for gun people. Is this might be on your nightstand and you've got 3 or 4 more steps to get to your shotgun or your M4 5.56 rifle. This might be the difference in getting there and not getting there. I don't know of any men or women, good guys, bad guys, whatever kind of person it is, I don't know too many people that like to get shot with any kind of a caliber, and that 22 will really penetrate. That is known to have lots and lots of penetration. And doctors will tell you they don't like to work on people who've been shot by a fragnable hollow point because it goes all over the place. So there's that little 22. We'll call that our wild card. and that is level 2 for home protection. The cool thing about this is you can buy lots of 22 bullets. I think our farm supply here in town now for $25 has got a box, Winchester box of 330 bullets for 25 bucks. So you can go out in the yard, set you up some tin cans. This is not a precision target rig, but it's got a tall blade and it's got a little notch cut there in the rear. And you'd be surprised if you just shoot that a few times, man, you can get good with them. You can get where you can really hit. And no recoil at all. It's not going to kick, hurt your hand. It'll just go pow, and that's it. You didn't even have to have, think about earplugs in that situation. That transfer bar is a very nice safety feature. If you cock that back and for some reason you're cocking the hammer and you accidentally let go of the hammer, you don't have your finger on the trigger yet, that gun will not fire. So it will only fire if you're holding your finger on the trigger that holds that transfer bar up, and then the step cut in here, that top step will hit that transfer bar, and that will transfer energy to the firing pin. So that's a very good thing that Ruger came up with, because there's been a lot of people through the years that were cocking a gun and accidentally let go and then had an accidental discharge, shot themselves in the foot or whatever. As long as you keep your finger off the trigger on this gun, good safe gun. No recoil, easy to load, easy to function, not fast. If you have to get in a bad situation and you shoot 6 shots, that's it. It's over. Unless you can run somewhere and find a place to, this is a slow method. Say, man, I would never use that. You'd be surprised what you'll use when it comes right down to it. Life, limb, life and death, your loved ones. And not everybody can afford to have a real expensive high-powered gun. Not everybody's hand can handle a high-powered gun. Maybe a 22 is all a young lady can handle, or a young man. Maybe that, maybe an older man with arthritis and he's just having a rough time with his hands. This will help you get by with that. 6 good shots, well placed, get you out of a lot of bad situations. So that's level 2. Let's work our way up to level number 3. Okay, now we have made it to level 3 of home defense, home protection, trying to protect loved ones in the home. And this would be a pistol, a much higher caliber pistol now than the 22. And I'm going to tell you, this is by far my favorite pistol in the world. It's the 1911. Now we're going to talk about some pluses and minuses. This has 100-year history of putting bad guys down quickly. And they have changed this through the years and made it even more effective as far as the type of bullets that you can shoot. I've got a video. You can clearly go to one of my videos on shooting these into water jugs, and I fired this bullet right here. That is the old full metal jacket ball ammo, military ammo, and that's what you don't want to use in a home defense setting, because that shot through 7 jugs of water and bounced off a piece of plywood. So a man is worth about 3 jugs of water, maybe 4 if he's really thick and got on some leather coat or something. He's worth about 4 jugs of water. And ballistic gelatin, yeah, it's just going to shoot right through. It's too penetrative. This was designed for military application. Shoot through a bad guy and kill another bad guy behind him. So you do not want to use that in a home application. Put him aside. This bullet is made by a company called Hornady Critical Defense. This is a special hollow point. It has what looks like a mechanical pencil eraser down inside it. It is a radical hollow point, but they put that in there to kind of protect it from getting stopped up. And that is designed so that when that hits something and starts to push down, the lips on this thin jacket are going to expand out, and you're going to end up with something that looks like that. This one shot through 2 jugs of water, made it into the 3rd jug, and expanded and stopped. So I will say this made 2.5 jugs of water. The 3rd jug, it only had an entrance hole, no exit hole, and that's what it looked like. So it expended all of its energy, about 400 foot-pounds of energy, all got dumped into the water jug. This one was also about 400 foot-pounds of energy, maybe a little bit you're not dumping any energy in the bad guy, just shooting right through. It's like poking somebody with a copper car antenna that's 1/2 inch diameter, or a sword like the French use, just running right through. Will it kill you? Yes, it'll kill you, no doubt about it. But not known for being a good stopper as far as stopping fast. It's got about a 60% one-shot stop. This is on up into the 90% one-shot stop. For pistol use, of course, you'd always want to double, triple, quadruple tap until the problem stops. That's the purpose of hollow point ammos, make the problem stop. This can be lethal if you hit in the right location. It takes practice. I picked this particular gun because I have put custom springs in here. I have gone through the extractor and made sure that it's tuned properly. I've got a Wilson Combat magazine that's well proven for reliability. Got a nice smooth fiberglass plastic follower. And this gun will shoot and shoot and shoot. I've shot a whole bunch of my hand loads, and I've shot a whole bunch of these to make sure that these will handle well. I like these nickel case because you can see them in the dark. You can open that chamber and glance in there and do a quick press check. With any amount of light shining, you can tell. Whereas the old brass, if it gets a little bit of tarnish on it, you might look in there and get deceived. But this is a very handy thing. Plus, if you store that in the mag for any length of time, it's going to look just like that if you pull it out a year later. So the old 1911, if the extractor's tuned, you got a good mag and you got good ammo, it'll go bang every time. They are very reliable. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If they buy an off-brand, a cheap one, and someone's been working on it in the basement with the file and a bunch of springs and they don't know what they're doing, you can make a 1911 have lots of problems. This is not the case. This is a target gun. I have, like I say, I've done lots of shooting with this. I know the gun very well. It's got a good crisp trigger. It's got a fiber optic front sight, which if I've got any amount of light, and I will because I wear a light on my head, and I'll be able to see my rear sight, my front sight. But up close and personal, you never touch your sights. You just point, shoot. You point at the bad guy, look at your lights, look at your target, make sure what you're doing, pull the trigger, and watch him dance. He begins to move, you know you're hitting something, and it's called fire for effect. Now, if you have the luxury of being able to get lined up well and see your rear sight and your front sight, and do all that, and hold him at bay and then do what you got to do, that's fine. But don't count on ever having a static picture like you're at the shooting range and you're shooting at a nice round target on a piece of cardboard and everything's perfectly still and you're calm and your target's calm and it's not shooting at you, nobody's screaming. It's not like that. In a home defense setting, it could be very chaotic. It could get very loud. It could be lots of adrenaline flowing through you. So be prepared for all of that. This is a good gun for the job. Now, that being said, I'm going to tell you, I have already ordered. This is not really a personal home protection rig because you have a total of 8 shots. So you're highly limited on your capacity. So what I have ordered, I went today to the gun store and put on layaway a H&K P30. And it is a long barrel. I got the P30L. It is the same gun that John Wick used in the movie. So yeehaw for that, hoo-yah and all that. And it is a 17+1. So it'll have 18 rounds, which is 3 6-shooters. And they're 9mm. If you get this good critical defense ammo, it'll get the job done. So I'm going to upgrade this. This will go back to being my regular target gun on the farm. And the new Heckler & Koch P30L in 9mm high capacity with some spare mags hanging around will be what I use if I have to use a pistol in a home defense application. Remember, the pistol is used to shoot your way to the rifle or to the M4. You're trying to get your way to a gun. So great pistol for this. Just realize you're limited to 8. If you can get the job done in 8, you've got a spare mag there. You know how to change mags quick. You practice. That could be a good arrangement still yet to get you to your shotgun or your M4. So that is level number 3. Next will be level number 4. Okay, our next weapon for home protection is level number 4, and this one is the world famous Remington 870 pump shotgun. Now, I really like the 12 gauge shotgun. It's a very good tool. It has strengths and weaknesses, and we're going to talk about those now. So the first thing you'll notice on this, I have put in a Magpul hand grip, which gives you a little bit more room for your hand, keeps you from getting bit here, and it's just a cool looking hand guard. It's a little bit better than the plain Jane one that these come with. This particular shotgun is a Marine grade, and I believe it is 6+1, and it is a combat shotgun. It holds 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. I don't shoot the 3s, there's no need for that. In double-aught buck, you can shoot a 2 3/4. Double-aught buck is 9 pellets of about 32 caliber all at one time. And the shotgun, 12 gauge shotgun, is devastating. It just is. This is very simple to use. The 12 gauge is. It has just a few controls. You have a small safety here that can be pushed at any time to block the hammer from hitting the firing pin. This goes forward like that. It's going to lock the gun in place. This gun's empty. That gun will not come to the rear until you pull the trigger or you hit the action button. This action button is right here on a Remington 870 shotgun. So if your hand is right there in the safety zone where the trigger would be and you roll over to this side, you can quickly pull that and operate the shotgun and pull it to the rear and check it. So the tube on this is empty, the barrel itself, and then this one I have added an orange follower. Let's see if you can see that. It has an orange follower that pulls all the shells up out of a tubular magazine, and that is handy. And I also went ahead and added extra heavy duty Wolf spring. I just feel better about that than the standard springs that these come with. But you can see the lift gate there, that puts a shell in and they're just ready to go. So excellent gun. I'll show you how that this works as far as shooting it. It is empty now, so pretending like it had a shell in it, this will not come to the rear. You would pull the trigger, it's going to fire the gun. As soon as it does that, that releases the action, makes it loose again. So at that point, pull to the rear hard, and the next shell is going to pop up and be lined up with the tube. It'll be laying on the tray like that, and it will be lined up exact, and then go forward with the forearm all the way hard and forward with authority, and it will chamber the next round. At that point, if you're not ready to shoot, you can put the safety on, and you got a good safe gun. So most of the time I store this at the house fully loaded, one in the chamber, the mag all the way full, and it's ready to go. The last thing you want to do is be the movie guy that thinks that you have to walk through your house doing like that, and that's not going to do anything. Anybody that's serious that has broken into your house, that they're not going to be concerned about that. Somebody that's got on meth or crack or maybe some LSD or horse tranquilizer, that means nothing to them. They're not going to pay a bit of attention to that. So forget what Hollywood says, you know, cycle your slide back and forth. That'll put the fear of God in them and they'll jump out the window. Not true at all. If you have a shotgun, you've got your lamp on your head or in your hand, or if you buy a forearm for one of these that has a lamp on it, you just put it in blink mode. You're only putting enough light to get from room to room until you can find the bad problem, the bad guy. And then only then, you take that safety off, and the first noise that he hears is a big loud boom and a bright flash. Then he got some serious problems. Now, I really like the 870. I'm going to tell you, there's probably 1,000 shotguns out there you can buy right now, and I would not get suckered into all of the different ones that have triple magazines on the bottom and bullpup and sawed off real short, and all they've got so many weird things, shotguns. None of those are proven. This right here, they've built over 1 million of these. These have seen military service. These have seen police service. I do know that there have been 1 million of these or more made. Some of them are in bird, setups for pheasant, for quail in production, all different kinds. The 870 is very versatile. You can change the barrel out, put a longer barrel. This is a straight cylinder barrel, which means it's not going to choke down at all. It's just straight round cylinder on the end. It's a 18.5 inch, but it holds plenty of shells to get the job done. It has a sling mount right there. I do have a sling for this, just for the video. I didn't want it in the way. My sling has holds a bunch of shells on it too, and then it's got a stud back here. Now let's talk about this stock a little bit. Remington stock that these come with are very light duty, and they're a little longer than this. This one is a Shote. This is called a Shote bulletproof vest. That means you're wearing a bulletproof vest, or Youth. That's the model that it's called. This is a special type of nylon with fiberglass embedded into it, so it's a lot tougher than the Remington stock these come with. You can push in like that and cave it in. So this is a fighting stock. You could actually do some pretty serious hitting with that. Very easy to install. You've got just one bolt that you put in there, and goes up through the rear end right here and bolts right into a threaded block that is welded to the receiver. The thing I really like about these Remington 870s is they do have a solid steel receiver, where the Mossbergs are aluminum. So that's one major factor. The 870 is just hard to beat. There's companies that have built whole businesses around taking one of these and modifying them. They'll drill and tap and put Picatinny rails on the top, and red dot sights, and modify the stocks, modify the fore ends. They'll put real tight chokes and different things like that on them. But just the plain Marine shotgun, these are pretty good for home defense, for the farm. They're excellent. So what I like about the Electroless nickel is this is not prone to having rust problems. If you get a plain black one, Remington does make a cheap Walmart version shotgun. It's just a plain Jane black. Some of them even say police. And that black finish on it, you stick it out in your garage somewhere and let a little humidity hit it, and the first thing you'll see is where they printed and put these numbers right here, that will turn into a pile of rust. So I don't want that for my home defense gun. I want my defense guns to be very durable, and this one has proven through the years to be very durable. We have had to take care of one time a pile of poisonous snakes. We had to take care of some other things, some coyotes, and different things. Never had to take care of a person, a predator that type, a two-legged, but it is good for the job. Now let's talk about some weaknesses of the Remington 870. The first weakness that you'll have on this is not everybody is going to be able to handle the recoil of a 12-gauge shotgun. You also got to realize that when you get in a fight with a shotgun, the very first thing you do after you fire 1 or 2 shots, if the problem doesn't go away, is you need to start reloading that thing, because whether it's got 6 or 7 or 8 rounds, that's still the same capacity that that 45 had earlier, about 7 or 8 rounds, and that's it. So if you don't keep topping that thing off, you can get in a fight with a shotgun and shoot 2 or 3 times on this guy, maybe 2 or 3 times on the second guy, or whatever the case may be. You know, different scenarios, but you can run out of shells with a 7 or 8 shot shotgun real quick. So keep that in mind. Lots of recoil. You can run out of shells quickly, but as far as lethality, these are devastating. The other factor with a shotgun that everybody overlooks is they've watched too many movies. They've seen some lady at the bar and she's got a little double barrel shotgun, and she's got her scarf over it, and she pulls the scarf back, fires a shot, and it cleans out everybody across the whole room, down the whole west side of the building. That might be with a super sawed-off shotgun, but with this, if you're shooting down the hallway of your home and it's 10 yards, you have to aim this thing exactly like you do a rifle. That barrel, even though it's a cylinder choke, and it can spread quicker than a tight choke would, it's still, if I put a piece of cardboard in front of this and shoot right there, it's going to make a hole the size of that barrel. And it's going to expand out about 1 inch for every yard. So at 10 yards, you might have, the max would be 10 inches across, and that's still, you know, that's just not that much spread. So up close and personal, like the distance you're used to seeing gunfights take place at 7 yards, that's going to shoot a very tight group. It's going to put all the pellets in the person if you've got that front sight in the middle of the person. And that's what you want to do. You always want to shoot for center mass on a bad guy. You don't want to be trying to shoot at the head, because people can duck or move their head right or left, and now you've missed. The shotgun is also problematic if you get a bad guy lined up beside a kid, and now you've got a situation where you try to got to shoot one and not the other. That's just a bad situation. So unless you're really good and know the spread of your gun, you better leave that up to the experts. So that is level. We had the pepper gel spray, we had a 22, we had a 45. This is level 4. The last level is level 5. Last but not least, level 5 protection. We have reached it all the way up to the M4. Now, the last one we did was a shotgun, and we consider it to be very lethal. But the shotgun had a couple of things that caused it to have weakness. One is not everybody can handle the recoil of a 12 gauge shotgun with double-aught buck. This has next to 0 recoil, so that's not an issue. The shotgun was also limited to 7 or 8 shots, and although they're very lethal, you have to be reloading the shotgun the whole time you're trying to fight with it, and that's a skill that requires a lot of practice. This gun, however, can hold 30 rounds. I use a high quality PMag. This is made by PMag Company, and Magpul makes some very good magazines. I like these over the aluminum because this can take a little damage. You can put a little pressure on it. It could get run over a little bit and maybe in the mud and get smashed down a little bit, and it has some flexibility. Aluminum magazine, once you put a kink in them, they're pretty much done. So this is pretty durable. It also has a window so that you can see your rounds in there. It has a 5 slot. This is 5, 15, and 25. Although it is a 30 round mag, I would tell you don't load it up with 30. Go ahead and do 28. And if you don't know why, ask anybody from Vietnam and they'll explain to you why, or anybody from the military. 28 rounds gives you a little bit of additional room here for your springs to keep your springs in good shape. So what is so good about this M4 rifle? Why is it so good for home protection? And some people say, well, that's the evil black rifle. It's the assault rifle. You can buy these in white. There are companies out there, believe it or not, that let's see, I've got a box over here somewhere. I can read off the box, and I can even show you the rifle. If you happen to be scared, of the evil black rifle, you can go ahead and just buy you a white one like this. And you can see the setup is very similar. This is a company called APF, and it's set up similar. It's got the same kind of red dot. That is a Romeo 5. Got the same kind of hand grip, same kind of a 6 position stock on it. This one's got a little 4 grip on the front, but this shows you that they're not evil, whether they're black or white. It's just a tool. It's a tool that gets the job done. In this case, the job is home protection. So we want something that's very lethal, and it's fairly easy to operate. Everybody in the military gets trained on this, boys and girls, and they're pretty easy to operate. This is not a class on how to run an M4, but I can tell you this M4, first off, it's very ergonomic. Show you a few little details about it. I've got a sling on here, and that sling is handy to have because you can put that around your body and then use that to form a triangle and keep it good and tight. And you can use that to go through the house and leave your hands clear to work doors or whatever else you may need to do. But the rifle right now is clear. I have checked it several times. But to load this rifle, you would take this full of ammo, stick it in here with the curved part like that, tap, tap, make sure it goes in good. Always check them to make sure they're locked. It has a bolt release on this side right here, just one push button. You push that, and it's going to chamber a round. So now it would have, we're just pretending here, it would have a live round that went into the chamber The other 27 would be ready to go. And then the next step would be to check your safety. You're safe right there. It's on safe now. And you could rest your finger right there as you're going into harm's way, and you begin to present the rifle as coming up into position. The barrel goes forward, goes up high, and it starts to come down. You quickly flip that off, and then you can make your shot. So all we should have is a click, and that's it. It's going to reload itself. Now this particular application, what I've got, I have a Romeo red dot. This is a Romeo Sig Sauer Romeo 5 red dot, and that's a very good setup right there. This is super simple to install. It's one screw. It comes in the kit with a little T-handle, and you put this as far forward as you can. I couldn't quite go all the way because I've got a QD mount here for my sling, but I like the sling to be mounted pretty close up forward. You don't want it up here pulling against your barrel because that'll throw your gun out of whack. So anyway, there's your Romeo, just one screw. It's got a cleat on the far side. That cleat comes down and clamps onto the Picatinny rail, holds it in place. This particular one I got on eBay for $65, and these are Shake and Wake. I believe it's a 3 MOA, and it's very simple to tune. You've got a little cap right there, comes off, and it's a screwdriver tip on the cap. So you can do your, this one is labeled. That is right and left, so right and left, and then you got one here for up and down right there. And just shoot up close. So I do it 25 yards. Some people like 50 yards and get that zeroed. Now, one thing you do have to keep in mind when you're shooting an M4, if you're in a house setting, a lot of people forget this step, is your bore is here. This is the center of your barrel, and your optics are up here. So take a tape measure and measure between this center line here and this center line here, and that's going to be about 2 inches. So if you're shooting up close and personal and you have sighted this rifle in at 25 yards, you're going to have some offset. A lot of people see that red dot and they think, well, the bullet's got to go where the red dot is. Not if you're up close and personal in a house. Wherever your red dot is, your bullet's going to hit about 2 inches below that red dot. Now, I learned this from Mr. Ronin. Guys, he goes by Ronin. That's his channel name on YouTube. He got 20 plus years, 25 years as a Green Beret Army Special Forces guy, and he teaches how to use these rifles. You're welcome to go there to get a lot more details, Mr. Ronin. And he is a Chinese man, but he is definitely a super patriotic American. He loves America, but he is a very thick, muscled up Chinese guy. He's got a lot of knowledge. You should listen to him. And he'll clearly tell you that you've got to be able to get that red dot sight on there, offset it, make sure you realize you're going to shoot about 2 inches lower than that in a home, and then you get on that trigger. When you get that right in the center of the bad guy, red dot, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somebody asks, you going to shoot the bad guy 5 times? Yep, 5 times. And you see the next bad guy, you line up the red dot right in the center of him, make sure it's on the spine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shoot him 5 times. Say, why do you do that? He said when he was over there in Afghanistan and Iraq, he learned real quick with the 5.56, even though it's pretty lethal. People wear vests, they got all kinds of things, ammo, and maybe a gun in front of them. He said, we shot the bad guys 5 times because then you never had to deal with them again. That problem was solved. You go on to the next bad guy. So keep that in mind. If you're in a home setting, you want to be very lethal. You do not want to fool around with putting a super sound suppressor on this. You want that bird cage right there. There's 50,000 pounds of pressure coming out of that tube off of that 5.56 round. You want that 50,000 pounds of pressure to bark as loud as humanly possible right in their face. This is lethal. You want it to be lethal. That's the job of the rifle, is to be lethal. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then assess the situation and see what you got. Look around to the right and to the left. Now with these red dots, I will give you some more information here. This is important to know for home defense setting. Always put your red dot up forward. Now I could have gone a little bit farther if I didn't have my sling there. I could go a little bit farther. But you want this up far forward because when you put your shoulder back here, your face lands about right here. You want this away from your face so that you've got lots of peripheral vision to the right and to the left. The farther forward this is, it won't make your red dot any harder to see, but it will give you more view of right and left. When you're using a red dot, both of your eyes need to be wide open. Say, well, I always shot with just one eye. That's because you were shooting Grandpa's deer rifle using a scope, and the scope was right on your face. Once you get to a red dot, you don't have to do that anymore. This is not a rifle scope. This is a red dot optic. It is only similar to the scope in the sense that it's round and it's mounted on the rifle. After that, the similarities go out the window. No magnification. They call it 1x. You can get them with magnification. You can get a magnifier that jumps across. But I'm going to tell you that to the next point on the AR. That is this. Be very careful with people that want to have you add this and add this and add this and add this and add another piece and add a bayonet lug and add this and add a multiplier and add a flashlight and then add a laser and then add a bipod. You can add so many things to this rifle that it's just ridiculous. The same way with the shotgun. I like to keep my shotgun clean. I like to keep the M4. This is my wife's rifle, but I like to keep it good and clean. There's nothing special in the handguard. It doesn't even have any backup iron sights. Somebody might say, oh gosh, you gotta have sights. If you're up close and personal in the house, that red dot's a luxury. After that, you can look through that tube right there and put that center mass on somebody and work that trigger 5 pops and they'll go down. So the red dot gives you more precision. The tube itself gives you all that you need up close and personal in a home setting. So where's your light on that? I wear the light on my head. You can go to, believe it or not, you can go to Tractor Supply, you can go to any of your discount stores, and they've got work lights with elastic bands you can put on your head. Some of them got a wide light, some got a really bright light, some got a blinking red light. You get the one that suits you, that you really like, and Harbor Freight has got a fantastic one. They've got them that you put batteries in them, and they've got some that you just plug into a regular phone charger cord. A miniature charger cord like you use on your Samsung, and plug it in and it'll charge the thing up and you're good to go. So you can put one of those headsets on your nightstand, have it right there, and you hear the bump in the night, realize you're called into action. You throw that headset on first, turn your light on, and then then you can start finding your shoes, find your pistol, find your dogs, find your wife, find the kids, find anything else that you need to have. You're not without lights. Well, if the bad guy came to your house and the first thing he did is he turned the breaker off your house. So that light switch that you're used to running to, flipping a light switch, is now going to be non-functional. So with the headset, little battery pack, you're good to go. And you never want to shoot at just a bump in the night. You don't ever do that. Just like deer hunting, you don't ever go out in the woods and just hear a racket in a pile of bushes and shoot at the racket, because you're liable to shoot your dad or your uncle or your brother, your sister, your wife. You got to identify exactly what it is that you're shooting at. Now, I didn't go into the ammo on this, but make sure you get a good quality ammo, either a TAP ammo, a good critical defense. Hornady makes critical defense. Federal makes good defense ammo for the home. Something that's designed to frag out quickly, hits a bad guy, dumps all the energy, and doesn't keep going. Do not use Full Metal Jacket, 62 grain, steel penetrator tip like the military use. That's designed to shoot through helmets and vests that have a little bit of protective gear on them. You always want to use a fragnable type of a bullet that is for home defense round, and I've got some of those. We'll get to those later. But this is a very simple setup. It's a 2-point sling. I like that. Fully adjustable 2-point sling. I use this because it's just easier to take apart when I'm cleaning the gun. And other than that, I don't have a lot of junk on the gun. It's just got a red dot, single screw to put that on, and single battery pack inside. Make sure your battery is fresh at all times. These are usually good for 2 or 3 years. And just real simple. I don't have anything extra added to it. I've got 2 or 3 of these 30-round mags. This P-Mag is, like I say, is a good brand. Magpul, they make good stuff. So consider this one of your top. This is level 5 protection for the home. I consider this the best that there is. This is what our military used when they're kicking indoors in Afghanistan, in Iraq. You can employ that, go out in the field, you can make a shot 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards if you had to, but for a home setting, these are devastating with the right bullet. Especially the military can't use a fragmentable. They can't use a hollow point bullet. The Geneva Convention, they're forced to use full metal jacket only. But for you as a homeowner, you could buy varmint rounds for coyotes. You could buy fragmentable bullets that are for home defense. I cheat sometimes and just use the VMAX bullet. That's for varmint, and I call the two-legged guy that climbs through the window a varmint. And you don't have to worry about it. It's going to be about 1,000 foot-pounds of energy. It's not going to shoot through him. It's going to dump that 1,000 foot-pounds into him. He's going to go down. Probably not going to be even a whole lot of noise. But remember, this is my tip to you. If you get on the bad guy and you're centered up, red dot, center of the bad guy, center top and bottom, center right and left, and you get a chance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. Check the situation. See what it looks like. Nice and quiet. Get on that phone. Make that 911 call. And be looking around. Look to the right. Look to the left. You see another bad guy, put that red dot in the center of him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get back on that phone. If you can't talk on the phone, leave the phone turned on. Set it up on a tabletop somewhere where they can hear what's going on and talk out loud. Just keep talking to them if you can. So, tactical situations, everyone's a little bit different. But go to that Mr. Ronan on YouTube, and a Chinese fella that was Special Forces for our Army in the Green Beret, and I think you'll be impressed. He's got some Kung Fu tips, some pistol tips, definitely some good tips on the M4, especially about that offset between the center of your barrel and the center of your optics. Up close and personal, remember that offset. You're aiming at something up close and personal in your home, that bullet's going to hit about 2 inches lower. On a man-center mass, it's not going to make a bit of difference because you're still going to hit the spine. But if you're having to make a precision shot for some reason, just know you're going to shoot about 2 inches lower than your red dot. So that is the 5 levels of protection for the home. Hopefully you learned something from that. If you didn't, you can go to his website, Mr. Ronan, and learn more from him also. And consider these things before you make your next purchase. And all these tools I've shown you today can be used in other applications besides just home defense. And we wish you the best. Hope everything goes good for you and your loved ones, your family members. Thanks for listening. Please tap that like and subscribe on the way out the door. Over and out for now.